welcome back to We the People. I'm Roy Morales, and we're talking about the mayoral race coming up on November 8th, I believe.
It is the 8th, all day, and we have 2 weeks of early voting that starts Monday.
Right, and that is October 24th.
Yes, that's right.
Through November 4th?
November 4th, that Friday, yes.
Okay, well, you're going to be out there pounding the pavement there.
I am, and I have to go to a wedding on Friday evening in Florida, so I'm going that day and coming back that next morning early. So,
oh, wow.
So I'm going to be
dedication.
Pounding. Yeah, it's my sister's youngest son, and it's we have a tight family. So we have to do that. So
that's good. You know, something we didn't cover, let's cover it real quick, because you were running for state rep on the really western part of the county.
Yes.
And the rest of Houston may not know about Jack O'Connor. Tell us a little bit about Jack.
Well, I grew up in New York City, and I think that is not all bad.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
My mother was born in New York City.
That's good to hear.
So
yeah.
I've got relatives there, so it's got to be an okay place.
Yeah. It is. I grew up in a big family. My dad was a doc, but I was one of 9 children. Learned to wear hand-me-downs, and I have calluses on my elbows still. But I grew up in a very good environment, a very tolerant environment. My dad was a Catholic, and my mother was a Presbyterian. But it was a very idyllic place growing up, and it was a very nice neighborhood outside of Manhattan and Queensboro, as a matter of fact. So that's about me. I came here in 1975, and I met a local girl, and I married her, and had 1 son. But what I've done, my background here is I first worked for Dresser Industries here when I came in 1975, and I've been in business in the manufacture of pumps, from the sales, marketing, operations, sourcing, everything else we do, and the service and warranty for pumps that we've supplied pumps to nuclear submarines, to the refineries, and in the early 90s, I got in with a group of people that we started a new company, and we did it with 3 companies from California, put them together, and made it grow very nicely. And over the years, we had some changes and things, and 3 years ago, I retired, and I hate to use the word retired. I just wanted to do something else. I turned an age where I could retire. I'd do that, and did a little bit of consulting, but I wanted to get into the political and serve. I wanted to do something like that. And that's when we met, right. And that's when I ran for District 149, and you were running for...
District 29.
Yes, you were running for the U.S. Congress,
yes.
And I think that. And I first met you when you were running for mayor.
Yes,
I came downtown, and I think it might have been at a Tea Party event.
It was at Tracy G.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I came to a Tea Party event.
I have a memory like an elephant.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so that's my background, and I've lived here. I've lived on the west side of Houston for most of the time, but in my house out there. And you know, going into the jobs part of it, a lot of people now are unemployed in this city. A lot of people are unemployed because a lot of our jobs have gone offshore, from service jobs to manufacturing jobs, and they've done it over a 30-year period.
Right.
The 30-year period they've done it over, it was because of EPA, because of unions, because of a lot of things doing it at one time. People were forced to source from India, forced from China, Eastern Europe, South America, Mexico, more and more of it as we were required to do that. Well, there was some resistance at first, but as it got going, the sourcing now has turned out to be actually good sourcing. I mean, quality. But we're at a point where we need those jobs back here. And it's at a time where the major companies are contemplating, how do we source things? How do we get material that we need if China ever becomes inaccessible? Something happens between us politically, or something happens in Eastern Europe, a political event, a war or something like that. We would be cut off from most of our material and labor, and a lot of our machine tools. So this is where the oil companies, and I've talked to them, have agreed that we need to start doing that. What we need, I intend to use the bully pulpit of the mayor, to convince those companies to twist their arm, not to break their arms or not to make it law that they have to do it, but to twist their arms and to encourage them to get to going to buy locally. And we can't force people to buy locally because it will drive up the price, but we can get them to entertain bids and get more sourcing going, so if something happens, we can source from here, and we can supply a lot of jobs.
Well, that's a good economic discussion there, where we can go with the city. I want to come back and talk about taxes and about public safety. So we'll be right back. This is We the People. I'm Roy Morales. Welcome back to We the People. I'm Roy Morales. Jack, in this segment I want to talk a little bit about taxes. This week at the Harris County Department of Education, I'm a school trustee, we took a vote and we decided to keep the nominal tax rate, which meant at the end of the day, Harris County residents are going to pay less taxes than they did last year. Can I get a commitment from you that if you're mayor of Houston, you'll make sure that our tax bill is lower than it was the year before?
You know, I will promise that it will be no more than it is this year, okay, than it is this year, and I will work very hard to bring it down every year. I think that it should. So that's, you have my commitment.
Well, I hope so, because I know the senior citizens that you've talked about before, they deserve to make sure that we keep it at a certain rate, even though that when you're retired, or when you're at 65, it stays at a certain level. It's frozen.
Yeah.
Now, we also talked about something that if we actually perform this duty here in Houston, it will save us money and it'll keep maybe unsafe cars and safe drivers off the road. Can you talk about your
I will talk about
insurance program?
In Dallas, and this is not new, in Dallas they have a program where if you are stopped and you have an uninsured vehicle, you are stopped and that car is impounded and is taken off. There's a fee that goes with that or whatever to get the car back. That's a way to generate revenue for the city, but it also, the big factor is that our insurance rates will go down. My wife was T-boned by a car, by an uninsured vehicle, uninsured person. Person was allowed to drive off and he was still uninsured. Our car was totaled. Ever since that time, I thought, we've got to do something about this. And when I'm mayor, I'll be allowed to do this and I will do it.
Well, that sounds like a great program. Yeah. So what would you like to ask the voters out there in Houston today?
Well, first of all, I'd say vote for me, if you will, okay? I think that your vote for me will be a good investment for the future of the city and your families. I think also I want to return Houston to a place where the entire world looked up to as a can-do place. Now we're getting the reputation for having a city council that is let's just say theater onto its own. It's become a comedy, and it doesn't have a good reputation.
Well, I think
we have a great city.
I think you're gonna get it there if you're elected.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for coming on
Okay,
today.
thank you very much. Yep.
Good luck.
Good time.
During the early vote, and go out there and even block walk on Election Day if you can.
And that's jackforhouston.com.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Roy Morales. Don't touch that remote. I'll be right back. Welcome back to We the People. Our next show will interview another candidate for Houston City Council, Mr. Scott Boats, for at-large position 1. If you have any comments about We the People, please call me at 713-320-8167. Don't forget, early voting for the Houston City elections starts October 24th through November 4th, and Election Day is November 8th. I'm Roy Morales from Houston, protecting and defending our Constitution and liberties. God bless Texas, and God bless America.